Okay, we're coming back in again. Sorry I had to do that. I had to kick everybody out. Gosh, it's a terrible feeling. Let's see if we can all come back again. I hope everyone comes back after being removed.
Did that work?
Yeah, it worked for me. Now let's just see if everyone's able to get back in. Jeez. Michael, your Supta Virasana looked so good earlier. It was so beautiful. Yay, people are coming back. I'm so excited. Elizabeth, you have your bolster ready to roll this morning?
Yeah, I'm hoping you're going to do restorative, are you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Okay, so we'll give a moment to allow everyone to come back in after being booted by myself. Sorry, everyone.
Did that work?
Yes.
Good.
I don't know what I did wrong. Jeez.
It's lost in the smoke.
Oh, wow. So we're going to give people just a moment here to get back in after kicking you out. Jeez. Okay. Coming in. Yay. Well, we'll just ask Linda Kay to breathe deeply for us out, and she's probably got some clear air where she is.
Who?
Linda Kay, she's in the UK. So.
Oh, yeah.
How are y'all doing out there?
Well, no, we're tired of it.
Yeah. No, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. The air quality today where I am is unhealthy as opposed to hazardous. But in some places, even in Portland, I think it's hazardous air.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been really.
I've been on the news. It's, daily on my Facebook and seeing what you all are going through, and it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, I feel grateful that my greatest challenge is just breathing bad air.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Yeah. Well, glad you could join us, and I'm glad that you can go outside and.
Yeah.
But you get to join us for a practice that's going to be more about our air quality this morning. So.
Fine. I mean, I consider Portland home, so it'll be good to connect that way.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Good. I'm going to mute.
Yeah. So, so due to our air quality, even though we've improved slightly to unhealthy as opposed to hazardous, we're not quite enough into the unhealthy range, even though that's considered an improvement, right? So, but our practice this morning is still going to be really about opening the lungs and allowing that to happen. And we're not going to be doing any standing work this morning, not until we see our air quality drop a little bit. We can still have a little bit of standing in the lower ends of an unhealthy air quality, but we're kind of at the upper end right now of unhealthy where I am, even though I'm not quite hazardous. But I think some places in Portland the air quality is worse, closer to the river or as you drop down. So, but I still have a practice I think that will support you and hopefully open up bringing some awareness to the lungs and the rest of you and how that relates to the lungs as well. All right. So you're gonna want, if you have a bolster's great. I've had several people asking me about bolsters lately, which is cool. They're really useful. I find them to be useful. I went through many years of not using them, and now I'm kind of back in the camp of using them for a lot of different things. So bolsters are great if you have one. If you don't, we'll substitute blankets and blocks and pillows and whatever, whatever you got. So to start our practice this morning, we'll go ahead and take a comfortable seat. whatever that looks for you, like for you this morning. I'm going to go back to my seat back there. All right. So whatever is a comfortable seat for you this morning, whatever height you need to sit upon. And yes, we can feel the weight of the air. We can, I mean, you don't notice it so much. Some of us might notice it more than others. But if you go somewhere where the air is not so heavy, when you come back into this air quality, I feel the weight of the air actually on me, on the top of my head and everything. So this poses we're going to do, hopefully are going to be lengthening the lungs longitudinally, broadening through here, and also opening the heart, in case you're beginning to feel a little like, oh, woe is me. So taking a comfortable seat, please. Close your eyes and rest your hands in your lap, wherever is comfortable for you. Notice the support beneath you. Lengthen your spine. And just drop into the presence of the muscles and bones that move with your breath. And just for the next moment or so, can you notice the side ribs moving right underneath your lower upper arms? This doesn't need to be the deepest breathing, the longest exhale. It's simply dropping our awareness into the movement that is happening. Because this isn't the time for us to be practicing any deep pranayama. But I can still drop my attention into the movement of my side ribs with the inhale. Join your hands in Anjali Mudra. And this morning, I'll chant the sound of Om, and I'll sing Loka Samasta, Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings in all realms find peace, and happiness. So I'm taking a deep inhale. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. With your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands and lift your gaze. So you're welcome to either stay in this cross-legged seat, or if sitting in Virasana is a comfortable seat, you might consider taking Virasana. We're going to do first a little work, a little nerve work to open up the communication between some of the nerves that come alongside the carotid artery and the scalenes. And so we're going to start with that. I'll come a little closer to you, and maybe that'll help you be able to see. So taking whatever's a comfortable seat for you, let's take your left hand and find your right collarbone. So I'm mirroring you. So find your right collarbone. And then you're going to come below that collarbone. You're going to take not the pads of your fingers, but the flat of your finger. And you're going to take that flat of your finger and drop it below. Here's my collarbone, where this is my collarbone. I'm going to go below it. And I'm going to anchor right below that collarbone, especially with my index finger knuckle, my pointer. So I'm going to anchor right there. I can take my other hand and help me if I need it to anchor. And I'm just going to take an inhale here. So I feel movement under there. I feel my ribs moving a little underneath there. And then I'm going to imagine there's a little balloon at the top of your right ear, a little balloon at the top of your right ear. And if you'll go ahead and let that little balloon lift just slightly, because you're going to start to feel a pull underneath your left index finger knuckle. And I don't want you to go any farther. Just till you feel that initial pull, just take a breath in. And your exhale. And then bring your head back to neutral. We didn't do a little pre-test. Let's bring both hands down. And just for a moment, let's turn your head to your right. And then turn your head to your left. And let's come back to center. And let's drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. And back to center, and then the left ear towards the left shoulder. So we're doing a little lateral and rotation we did. Okay, we come back. We're gonna go to that same side one more time. Same side, we're gonna anchor below your right collarbone. You just press into there, and already you're gonna feel, once again, that when you lift, as if there's a balloon at the top of your right ear, when you begin to let that balloon pick up, and when you start to feel a pull right under there, stop there. You don't need to go any farther. We're not trying to stretch muscles. Take your breath. And the exhale. And come back to center. And then we're going to take the same balloon. It's still there at the top of the right ear, your right ear. And this time, you're still anchored in the same place. go ahead and let the balloon pick up that ear. There's an initial pull. I feel that. And now I'm gonna turn my chin a little towards your right. The balloon is still lifting. Oh, I feel a pull in a little different spot. I'm gonna stay there and breathe. And then I'm gonna bring my head back to center, move my hand, and then I'm gonna turn my head. So you're gonna turn your head to your right, and back to center and over to the left. Okay, and back to center. Let's see what the side bend is like. First to the right, which probably doesn't feel that great, but let's see what happens when you go to the left. Maybe there's a little change. And then back to center. Let's do the other side. So you'll take your right hand now. You'll find the collarbone. And again, you're below it. You're not on it, you're below it. There are all these little nerves that come down and under your collarbone. And you're a little, so if this is my sternum, I'm gonna be from where my collarbone and my sternum meet. And then just right below there, no big deal. The big deal is just anchoring balloon on the top of your left ear, and let the top of the left ear begin to lift, and you'll start to feel an initial pull. You inhale and exhale. Come back to center. You want to test it after that one? Let's just turn your head to your left. Center. And around to the other side. Okay. Felt a little change. Pretty excited about that. I'm gonna put my hand back up there. Any change is appreciated. Okay, and now again, balloon at the top of your left ear. The balloon begins to lift the left ear up. We'll just go, there's the initial lift. We take a breath in. And then let's take the chin and turn it slightly left. And there's a different kind of vector here, a different pull. We'll breathe. And then we're going to come back to center. And we'll release the hands. And then let's turn your head to your right. Turn your head right. Back to center, left, center. Let's take the right ear down. I feel a little better about that. Still a little tension there. Left ear down. Okay. So that's just an initial little bit of nerve flossing, right? Now we're going to take it to another place. So in Virasana or cross-legged, now we're going to add a little stretch more with the of the scalenes itself. So let's take your left hand behind to grab on to your right forearm somewhere. Left hand behind grabs onto the right forearm, elbow, or whatever. And now, can you take your left ear towards your left shoulder? And now you're going to start to take the chin a little, lift the head a little. The chin comes up a little. So there's a little, almost like the gaze lifts. You'll probably really feel the anterior scalenes on this one. So the scalenes, as it comes down along the front of the neck, it attaches to the transverse processes. at the front of the neck, and it comes down and attaches to ribs 1 and 2. All right, let's come back to center and bring the hands around. Just rest for a moment. You might feel a difference in how that arm is, the shoulder, maybe you feel a difference. Let's do the other side. So I'm going to take your left hand comes behind, grabs onto your right forearm or elbow. You're going to let on your left arm, let that left collarbone, as it comes into the joint there, let that roll down. And you're taking your right ear towards your right shoulder. And then we're going to start to lift we could even think of it like the balloon on the right, on your left ear. It's just going to lift the head a little, but then you're going to take it a little bit so you open the front of the throat. Different on this side. That stretch coming across. And the upper lobes of the lungs. So like that on your left side right now, that upper lobe of your lung comes all the way above your collarbone. Okay, and then let's come back to center. Great. Oh, right. So let's release the arms, rest the hands. And even whether you're sitting cross-legged or in Virasana, we're going to take a simple twist. This doesn't need to be the most extreme event ever. All right? But let's take the arms out halfway. And as you exhale, you're going to turn towards your right. So your right hand can come behind, your left hand across. I'm not looking for my deepest twist. I'm not pulling it'd be your right shoulder. I'm not pulling my right arm back. I'm just going to allow my rib cage to turn underneath my right collarbone, my right shoulder joint. And then we'll come back to center. Take the arms out again, inhale. Exhale, we're twisting the other way. So your left hand behind, your right hand across. Again, try not to pull yourself into the twist, but rather, can you take the rib cage underneath that whole left shoulder girdle? You're not going to pull your left arm back. I might consider on the upper lobe of your left lung, can you lift it up inside, up and under the collarbone, lift up that upper lobe of the lung. All right, and then let's come back to center. Great. Okay, so let's come out of your seat. And just for a moment, can we go to all fours? And just open up the back of the right knee. And some of you might go ahead, we could all lower the right knee. We take the left one back. Let's do that. And we'll open up the back of the left knee. And some of us for a moment might just take a plank. Just open up the back of both knees. Then we're going to lower both knees down and walk the hands back. Okay, so I want to do we're gonna need a strap. And you're gonna take your strap and make a loop in it. And the size of the loop is gonna be, it's gonna go around the wrists. And it's probably gonna be probably about shoulder width or so. Okay, so we have that. We'll set it off to the side. And then if you have a bolster, you're gonna take your bolster and just put it across your yoga mat like that. If you've got a bolster, you'll do that. If you do not have a bolster, then you're gonna take one of your blankets. Let me get this all straightened out here. Okay, now I'm gonna see, if I turn this blanket this way, I'm gonna see if I can get a better roll. I'm gonna take a second blanket on top of that one. And if you have another blanket, I do want this roll to be pretty good size if I don't have a bolster. Then I'm gonna roll that up. All right. Yeah. Okay, so either you've got a bolster here or you have rolled up blankets. Then you're gonna have a block. So some of you, like if you have like a fusion in the neck or really tight in the neck, then maybe that's too high, but it might not be, because you're gonna sit on a block here. You're gonna sit on a block, and if you've got the bolster or the rolled up blankets, you're gonna bring shoulder blade on that. And my head is coming towards the ground. This ended up being a little bigger than I probably wanted it. So I might slide this blanket. I'm surprised because earlier it wasn't as big. There. I do want my my head to be able to release back. And then I'm going to take my strap and reach it overhead. Okay, this feels good now. So can you bring yourself into this shape? So I do want the top of the head or some part of the head to touch the ground. The strap around the wrists and lengthening overhead. Lengthening all the way out the thumb side of the hand. And I could either have my palms facing each other, or I could have my palms up towards the ceiling. And can you allow that upper lobe of the lung to lengthen forward towards the throat? And if having the arms overhead is too much, you don't have to. You could always have them behind the head if that's more comfortable for you. Okay? And then you're going to take your hands out of your strap, hands behind your head, elbows toward each other. And then lift your head up. Take your block away. Pelvis to the ground. Straighten the legs. And use the abdominals to sit back up. All right, great. And then let's take that bolster or your blanket stack. And we're going to take the knees wide apart, pull this in close to you, and just come up and over the stack or the bolster. And you can either take your arms under it like you're hugging it and turn the head to one side, or just have the forehead or chin down. If your head is turned one way, go ahead and turn it the other way. And then you're going to use your hands to push yourself back up again. All right. Now let's take, we'll just scoot that out of the way. And let's take a blanket to cushion the knees. And our 2 blocks. And we're going to step the left foot forward. We're just going to open up the front of the right hip. So opening up that front of the right hip. And how does that relate to what's happening at the lower ribs, the lower lobes of your lungs? All right, and then you're going to switch sides. Left knee back, right foot forward. So lengthening longitudinally through the body, right? Through the body lengthwise. Can you get a sense of this along the left side of your sternum? And then we're going to step back. Move the blocks out of the way. Walk the hands forward, puppy. So the collarbones are pointing toward the heart center. And then let's walk the hands back. All right, and I want to take half Supta Virasana, or you'll go back to that low lunge we just did. If you're not going to do half Supta Virasana, then I would say, if you're returning to the low lunge with one knee back, have the back ankle a little elevated. If you're returning to this, elevate the back ankle a little. Otherwise, we're going toward half Supta Virasana. So for some of you, that might mean you've got a blanket to cushion the legs, and you might set up 2 blocks. Maybe one block is taller than the other block. You could either put, a bolster on top of that and sit in front of it. That might be the right height. Or, And maybe even a blanket under the head might be great there. You could take your roll, if you don't have a bolster. It might not sit on blocks as well as a bolster does. But that could be a good height. And then you can, with whichever version you're taking of Supta Virasana, it'd be nice to have a pillow or 2 pillows to go under the head, because you might need a little extra lift under the head for this. So when you do come in front and you come into your half Supta Virasana, remember that as you come back, the pelvis is not going to be on the ground. So I could always add more height under my head. So on the down leg side, as you lengthen all the way across from the lower ribs through the belly, across of the down leg hip, even if you're in a low lunge with the knee down, and you lengthen that. If you're in the half Supta Virasana, the foot that's on the ground can help support that. And then can you, at that space, the other option is, some of you, if having the knee bent like this, you could have both legs straight. You could be in a version with both legs straight out, just to help open the front of the chest here. So that, can you bring your attention to that space along the sternum, especially if you have one leg down on that side. Can you let that, take the lung away from the sternum on that side? Let the lung open out to the side. So if you have the left leg down, the left lung opening away from the left side of the sternum. And then we can come up and take the second side. So again, you could have both legs straight if this is too intense on the knees or the thighs. And you're in front of your support, not on it. So the pelvis is not on it, it's in front. And let's see, and Lynn Rear, make sure you have plenty of lift behind your head. Plenty of lift so that the throat is, you're not opening the throat right now. We're gonna keep the throat a little more, so we don't want the forehead higher than the chin. In fact, we'd like to have the forehead, we want the forehead higher than the chin. We don't want the chin higher than the forehead right now, because we want to support what's happening in the throat in regards to all of the air quality that many of us are experiencing. And we want to work with what's happening with the lungs themselves. So if the right leg is the down leg, and I've lengthened longitudinally this long line from the lower lungs all the way to the front of the right thigh, whichever is the down leg side. And then on the right side, if the right leg is the down leg, on the right side, the lungs as they are close to the sternum. Can you bring your felt sense into that space along the right side of the sternum, in that lung, and see if you can let the lung open out to the right. It broadens out to the right. That's great. All right. And then go ahead and bring yourself up from that. And can we sit up on top of the support we had there? So we're going to be seated pretty high. And let's take the left leg straight, right knee bent. We're going to take Marichyasana 3. Left leg straight, right knee bent. I just put a blanket under my straight leg knee because my legs like to hyperextend. You're going to be turning toward the bent knee. So as you turn towards your bent knee, with that bent knee hand behind you, and the other arm across, either holding the knee with the hand, with the inner elbow, with the outer elbow. And then bringing your awareness, your felt sense into the right lung. As you're turning to your right, or whatever is the bent knee, as you turn towards your bent knee, on that side, the lung on that side, can you take the lung away from the sternum? You're turning that lung more open at the front side. So if you're turning to the right lung is turning inside the rib cage, away from the sternum. If you're turning to your left, it's the left one. And then we're going to come back to center. You'll switch sides. Hand behind you, and either you've got the palm at the knee, the inner elbow, outer elbow, whatever is the right position for you. So if you're turning to the right, what happens when you put your felt sense into that space and turn the lung away from the sternum? You're turning right, you're turning the lung away from. Great. One more breath there. Then with your exhale, come back to center. So now let's take, I know, for these kind of poses, it does take the willingness to deal with your props. That's just the nature of it, but it's more beneficial, I think, than the willingness to go through a bunch of news on some news feed. It's just a greater benefit spending time this way. Okay, so let's take one of your blankets and you're going to fold it lengthwise. We're going to take like a honey drip. And then I'm going to take, and some of you, one blanket might be enough height. I think I'm going to add a second blanket on top. And the second blanket is going to actually be like an inch or two in front of, ahead of the bottom one. Because it's going to be like the off ramp. there. So if I have enough blankets, I'm gonna add the layer for my legs. If you don't have enough blankets, then you'll probably just have bent knees for this. Okay. Then when I come down, I'm gonna want, remember where the spine of the scapula is? Remember, so you can feel that place on your scapula. That's a more horizontal line. I want that on the ground. So when you come back, you're gonna come back enough so that as you come over the top of the blanket, you're gonna feel the spine of the scapula touching the floor. Some of you, if you've got the blankets, you'll have the legs straight out. If that bothers the lumbar spine, you'll have the knees bent, the feet on the ground. And again, you're welcome to ask questions if things don't seem unclear. Just feel free to ask. Just make sure that the spine of your scapula is meeting the ground. And then can you allow the upper lobes of the lungs, which come above the collarbones, as ribs 1, 2, a little bit above the collarbones, can you let those upper apexes of the lungs lift and broaden? The upper lobes of the lungs widening. Great. So good to have this lift, this support behind the heart, the upper lobes of the lungs broadening. Okay, and then if the legs are straight, please bend your knees. And then you can roll down to one side, use your arms and press yourself back up. And now let's take that as stack. You could either use 2 of the blankets that you were just laying upon to be able to sit upon. Some of you might even like 1 more blanket there. And then we're going to take both legs straight. And let's take one of our blankets. Yeah, this is good. One of the blankets. And can you make a roll out of that blanket? Can you roll that blanket up? If you have a bolster, You might like that. You're gonna take this blanket, it's gonna go up and under the ribs. If you have a bolster, you can put it on your legs, kind of in this tall way. And you're gonna come up over the blankets to rest your forehead on your bolster, if you have a bolster. If you do not have a bolster, then you might have your 2 blocks. Again, this blanket's gonna be up and under you. And then I might take, if I don't have a bolster, I'll probably stack a block, and one of my blankets to rest or a pillow, right? Pillow, you guys have pillows. And tuck that blanket up under my ribs and come forward. And I can make a little stack. So it's a very supported Hashimoto Tanasana. If I had a chair, I might reach my arms here to the chair. But I don't have a chair, and I didn't ask you to have one. So I'm just gonna have my hands maybe touching the floor. And here, I'm gonna let the upper lobes of the lungs turn in, my heart to turn in. With the blanket underneath my ribs to the top of my hip bones, I'm able to broaden more through the back of my body, through the back, low back area. All right, and then we're gonna walk ourselves back. And I'm gonna take away that blanket. And now I wanna have us set up for a supported bridge pose. And we'll go ahead and have one blanket that's going to go underneath your shoulders. I wanna know where my blocks are. And I want to have my strap. This is our more kind of traditional supported bridge. So that when you come down, shoulders are up on the blanket, make your blocks within reach, and we'll go ahead and put one block under the pelvis, check that the shoulders are still supported, head on the ground. Second block. And then that feels right for me today. Like I don't want to be over efforting. So I'm gonna take my strap then, put it around my wrists. For this supported bridge, Setu Bandha. I do like having the support of the blanket underneath my shoulders. It's giving me the advantage of a little more height in my bridge pose. If I was just on the ground, I wouldn't feel this same lift that I can get right now. Without a lot of effort, as I press out on the strap, can you broaden through the front lobes of the lungs. Some of you might enjoy having the legs straight up towards the sky. But some of you, but really check in with yourself. If you decide to take the legs up, does that feel more nourishing? Take the pose that feels more nourishing right now. That looks good, Sandra. The legs look really great and vertical. And I think the block is in the right place. Although I'm kind of wondering if the block is right under the pelvis. But if it feels great, stay with it. It's great. Bella might bring your legs a little closer together. There you go. And Lynn, just bring your legs a little away from the chest. Just a little. There you go. That's it. That's it. Yeah, yeah. Can you feel the nourishment for the lungs right now? No matter if the legs are on the floor or up, what's nourishing these upper lobes of the lungs, and what direction are they going? And if your legs are up, bring them down to the ground. Take your hands out of your strap. If you're on 2 blocks, take 1 block away. And then please lift the back of the head, and as you remove your second block, walk yourself towards your head so you can get the pelvis on your blanket that's under your shoulders, and the shoulders and the head on the ground. So pelvis on the blanket, shoulders and head on the floor. That will feel, again, the pelvis and the knees bent, feet on the ground for this part. All right, great. And then let's roll over to one side. Use your arms to push yourself up. And we're going to take, going back to, I'm going to take 1 blanket folded lengthwise, like what's under my shoulders. Then I'm going to take another blanket on top of that. You could try the bolster. That could be useful instead. I've got those 2 blankets stacked on top of each other. I'm going to take my strap, because we're going to do a supine version of Hashimoto Tanasana. So I'm going to take my strap, I'm going to make the loop big, so that when I come down on the floor, I'm going to have the blankets under my pelvis. Bring my legs up. Strap goes around both feet. I'm going to take my feet a little wider. And this can be as big of a loop as you want. So this could be a bigger loop. La la. And then I don't need to have my, my arms reach the ground. I'm gonna have my palms facing up to the sky. It just depends, a lot of it is based on hamstring length. But just this supported Hashimoto Tanasana. Reclined Hashimoto. It's just fun to say. Hashimoto Tanasana.
Lynn, we can't hear you.
She's gone. Mm.
Yeah, I think we've lost the video with her.
Right. Oh well.
Should we leave and maybe she's trying to reconnect with us?
Yeah.
I mean,
gonna
yeah,
I'll-
it's only 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll do that and see what happens.
Yeah, me too.
Otherwise, we might just take Shavasana.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Just do Shavasana and have it be done.
Okay. I'm happy to do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very joyful to see you all again. I'm happy to see you resting. Since my internet died, I'm back, but you're looking great. You're looking really good. So I'm back. I can carry you along. Let's take a recline twist while you can either stay where you are, or you can take a recline twist here. Just bend both knees. Great. Move your blanket out of the way. Perfect. You're lying on the ground, arms out wide. And you're going to press into both feet and shift the hips off to the right, just 1 or 2 inches to your right. Straighten your left leg. And then bring the right knee across and over. So in this twist, where you can take the left hand to the outer right knee if you like. Yeah. So as the right chest is open, see if you can bring your felt sense into that right upper lobe of the lung. Come back to center. Shift yourself back to midline, a little way to the left, straighten the right leg. And you're going to take a twist over towards the right. So you can take the left foot up onto the inner right knee or somewhere along there as you bring the lower, there you go. That's it, Sandra. Yeah. Yeah. And you might, Danella, you might like bringing the left knee closer to the chest, just a little more up. There you go. And now see what that feels like. Yeah. So the lower body's going towards the right, the upper body toward the left. And then we're going to come back to midline. We'll bring both feet to the ground. Bring yourself to center. And one more time, bring both knees to the chest. Both knees up. Hug the knees. Good. And then go ahead and take the knees an arm's length away. And with your next exhale, hug them in. And if it's comfortable to lift the head and neck, make yourself into a little bowl. And then the head goes back and down, the knees go an arm's length away. And one more time, you can make yourself into a ball. And then lower the feet. And now come down to Shavasana like your dog over there. Completely resting, letting go. And then allowing your breath to deepen. Begin to awaken your body to movement. Bending one knee at a time. Let's make a mindful transition over to one side. And use the support of your arms as you press yourself back up to sitting. Join your hands in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you to those of you hanging in there during the Zoom crash. It wasn't actually a Zoom crash. I think it was an internet crash. And I will say that if you're having any headaches or things like that, like one of the poses I was going to do would be legs up the wall, like Viparita Karani. So that sort of waterfall pose, legs up the wall. You don't have to have support under the back of the pelvis. You could just have legs up the wall and just waterfall yourself down like that. But things like that might help if you're feeling, you know, like a headache or things from this kind of air or some other event in your life. Thank you so much for being there when I came back. Twice.
Sure,
Twice today.
sure. We're glad you came back. It was great to have you come back.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you were all still hanging in there. That was really cool.
Yeah.